Maggie, and I am here today with Sharman and Carter. And we are here at the CS3 farm in Middle Tennessee. And they have an amazing story of what God has done with this farm, what God is doing through this farm through them. And we're going to hear a little bit of history about it, and then we're going to hear about an opportunity where you can join in and learn more about herbs. If you've seen part one, you already know that Sharman is trained as an herbalist now. But if you haven't seen it, make sure you check that out so you understand a little bit of the backstory and some of the medicinal things and beneficial things that you can start growing right now in your own homestead or your own even if you're in an apartment, you can grow some things out on your balcony. So I just want to introduce to them, and also we have dandelion down here. I don't know if you can see dandelion, but y'all tell me about how this all started. When God spoke to you about coming out here to do this beautiful vision that's taking place here.
So about 3.5 years ago, I realized that after 27 wonderful years of marriage, every time we'd moved, Sharman had said, you know, it'd be really great if we had some property. And she basically, over 27 years, got me up to 1/3 of an acre. We lived in Murfreesboro. I said, well, let me focus. Let me ask her again, what does this property look like? I'm big on visualizing something and then going after it and finding it and that kind of thing. And so she said, well, it's this way. And I realized that every time I'd asked her that in the past, it was a different description. She grew up in upstate New York where they have these rolling hills. And she had this group of different memories and they didn't seem to gel. So I asked her uncle, who had also grown up there, he was an adult during much of the time that he lived up there. So he described one or two of the things she described, but I realized she moved a lot, he didn't. So she had this amalgam of memories.
Sure.
So he said, but you know, if you'd like, we're having a family reunion. This was May of 2018. He said, we're having a family reunion the July 4th weekend. Y'all can come up there and check it out. So I get on my phone and I'm pricing tickets. They're like $600 or $700 per person. I said, I love y'all, but not that much. Can you just tell me what this area looks like? Anyway, left there. We were in northern Georgia talking to him. And about a week later, I prayed to him. I said, God, because you know, you get the burden. If you got your phone out checking ticket prices.
Yes. And
you turn them down for money, there's probably something else coming. God, if this is supposed to happen.
Right. A
week later, a guy calls me. I teach on military trained gang members, gangs in a variety of different situations. A guy a year earlier was trying to get me up to the Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey area. And every time I'd give him dates, they fell through. He'd give me dates, they wouldn't work. So I just gave up. I said, I guess I won't be going up there. And I didn't hear from him for like 8 months. And out of the blue, right, he calls up a week after this and he said, we'd like you to come up. I said, okay, not thinking about the Rolling Hills vision, right? But just thinking, look, this guy, he had my whole calendar last year and didn't do anything with it. I said, how about we do this in reverse? You give me dates that are available and I'll tell you if it's, instead of me clearing my calendar. He said, if you'll give me one date on a Friday or a Monday, I'll make it happen. I said, July 2nd. He said, wow, that was quick. Well, you know, he made it happen. So I was flown up there. I was put in a hotel. Sharman flew up there on my points, and we got a rental car for $100.
Oh, wow. Great job. Great job, can't beat it.
Right? So we flew in, we drove up, we spent the weekend, we drove back, and while we were there, I saw the rolling hills. And so in this area, those rolling hills don't exist in Rutherford County.
Sure.
They exist some in the surrounding counties, but what came to me from my memory was Woodbury.
Right.
Woodbury, Cannon County, that end of it towards McMinnville and up towards Smithville, there's rolling hills. We went out there, that deal fell through. We looked for another one, Wilson County, just over that line, there's rolling hills. We went over there, that deal fell through. I was tired of shopping for houses. I told Sharman, I said, hey, go with our real estate agent, Michelle. And if you find a property, let me know, I'll come out and look at it. She texted me 2:45 in the afternoon. She said, I think I'm in love with Daddy Green. I texted her back, if I didn't know the addresses you were checking out, I might be jealous. Do you want me to come check it out? Anyway, I get my shoes on, I'm heading this way, and as I pass, I'm 5 minutes off the main road in Murfreesboro, and I start seeing, in my heart, it was like, wow, I know exactly where we're going here. This is a done deal, and I haven't seen the property yet. Turns out her heart fluttered as she came up the hill. So we came in here, this was all raw land, the weeds, the grass, whatever was this high, and it was like everywhere, the whole area. We had some of these elderberries were sticking up through the grass, but that was about it. We saw none of this was here. It had been grazed some, but mostly it was used for hay, and not even very regularly or very often.
Wow.
So God had to put a serious vision on us, and he did, and we ended up with this. Now, I will tell you, we had a 3 to 5 year plan. I've been a suburbanite my entire life.
Yes.
And her wanting property that meant moving out there to the country, you know? And so I had a 3 to 5 year plan. I figured I can talk myself into it in 3 years and stall for 2 more, and it'll take 5 to get out there. I went home 4 times, Maggie.
Wow.
Murfreesboro. I went home 4 times, and I said, you know what? Let's build this thing. Let's do this. I'm out.
Yes.
I'm gone. So 2 years to the day we were in the house. Or we were on the property, literally living on the property.
It's absolutely amazing, and you've built a beautiful structure here in a great home that's
like
just so full of love and life, and I absolutely love it. But it's very impressive because you've got a plethora of different types of things growing. I know you're passionate about fermenting.
Yep.
I had the opportunity to taste some of the fermenting, and let me tell you, it's good stuff. Very good for your digestive system.
Yep.
But this coming up in October, you're going to do your first class. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I think it's very important that we all become more educated about the things that are available to us that we might not necessarily realize. Like when you go in the grocery store and you see the dried herbs on the shelf, you don't think much about them except from a culinary part is like, maybe I need a little bit of this or a little bit of that.
Right.
But God has created such powerful things in the herbs. And in part 1 of this video, go back and watch it because Charmin gives us a beautiful illustration of the sum that you want to start with. But this is going to be not only an educational class, but this is going to be something when they walk out of here, they're going to be confident to be able to start doing that themselves. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The 5 herbs that we're going to be talking about is going to be thyme, basil, rosemary, oregano, and garlic. And the goal of the class is I'll be teaching on the medicinal properties of each of these herbs, and then Carter will teach on the culinary aspects. Like I said in the first video, that some of these herbs, actually no herb should be used at medicinal strength for certain people because of contraindications or just it would be not right for them.
Sure.
But culinary is a way to get the antibacterial, antifungal, and all those other properties in the body on a regular basis without being strongly medicinal.
Right.
But there are ways to get it in the body at a medicinal strength if that's what your body is calling for. So I'll be doing the medicinal side, he'll be doing the culinary side, and then at the end of class, you know, people will leave with some dried herbs.
That's so cool.
And if we have plants, we'll be giving, you know, plants to go with those that people can go and they can plant them. They can put them in pots in the house. They can experiment, and they can just play around and use the knowledge they learned with what they have on hand.
I love that because I'm a huge advocate of using what's in your hand and not letting your circumstances stop you from doing something. And you mentioned putting them in the house, and I love that because the aroma, just the aroma.
Yes.
I wish y'all had Smellovision right now because if you walk through all the things that are growing, just the smell of that alone can awaken your senses and make you feel better. We were talking earlier about when you've got a cold or flu and just getting some good peppermint or some garlic and breathing and inhaling that in and what it does for you. So obviously the classes are one part. So tell them, we're in Middle Tennessee in the Beech Grove area. Are you sure? Are you actually Beech Grove here?
Yes.
We're Beech Grove, but our mail, our electric, our internet, and something else come from Rutherford County.
Okay.
So they give us
Our
a Christiana mailing address.
Okay, you got a Christian
Which is cool because we can go to either of the convenience
I
centers
was
when
going
the
to
dump
say,
ain't
it
open.
opens things up.
Yep.
I was sharing with them. I'm at the Coffee and the Cannon line,
Yep.
and they're at the Cannon and the Rutherford line.
Coffee
so
Rutherford,
if you,
yeah.
or the Coffee, yes, and the Rutherford. So if you guys remember the old rock band CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival,
Yep.
we're all part of that crew, and you should come out and learn about herbs.
Right.
So, and
Right.
I jokingly, I was talking about Simon and Garfunkel's Parsley Sage, One Minute Sumerian Thyme. not knowing that Carter had made some mustard and named it Scarborough Fair.
Right.
So it's so fun to meet people that get it, and they know what they're talking about, and it's a great way for us to learn. I am learning so much from them, just spending the afternoon here on the farm and enjoying it. So what is the vision for the farm? So I know you guys, you read the scripture earlier, that's out of Genesis, what they founded the farm on, but I know that you probably got some things stirring in your heart. So what are some of the things you would like to see happen here?
One of the biggest things is teaching, inviting people out to partake in the herbs. And with that, my first vision was to have a herbal sensory garden.
Oh, wow. Wow.
One day where people can come out and they can experience the gifts of the smells of the plants that can be so healing, or the taste, the feel, all of that. And just the beauty of them.
Yes.
And then make it a walkthrough, but then also have things available for people who want to come out and do harvest for themselves and receive that healing that they can take home with them.
I love that. That's beautiful. Now, I know we're standing here by an elderberry bush, and a lot of people have heard about elderberry syrup and the benefits of that, but can you talk a little bit specifically about that for those that aren't aware of how powerful this is?
It's very good, and notice it comes right before cold and flu season. This is God ordained.
Go God.
So people who want to make a syrup, they have time to soak the elderberries in whatever menstruum they want and make the syrups and have them all ready and stocked on their shelves for cold and flu season.
I absolutely love it. I've been using it for a couple of years, and it's very, very powerful. And what do we have over here by Carter?
This lovely beauty.
And I'm just going to bring the camera in.
Okay. The flowers were pink. Right now it's went to seed, but this is Joe Pye weed. And it's also called gravel root.
Oh, wow.
And the roots you can use for gallstones, but you can use for kidney function, the leaves and stuff. So there's so much to learn, so much I'm not knowledgeable about yet, but this is totally a work in progress for me.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So if you're watching this on the YouTube channel and you have questions in regards to the different herbs and whether or not they grow in your area, I encourage you to check your zone, first of all. And well, you're in zone 7?
Yes,
yes,
7B.
I guess so, because you're right down the street from me. Okay. Yeah. 7B. And there's a lot of great things that you can grow year-round. They're doing year-round planting here, which, can you talk a little bit about succession planting?
Sure.
And what that means for the new gardener that's trying to figure out when, where, and what?
Absolutely. So when we first got the property, Sherman's vision was for an herb farm, and I tend not to be able to let people do things by themselves. But I had to get my own track, as it were. So I started learning about vegetables. Which is good because I love eating, and the vegetables taste a whole lot better when they're combined with herbs,
yes.
Which is one of the reasons that we're doing the class. Succession planting means essentially don't go in and plant 10 tomato plants at the same time, or 10 corn stalks, or 10 anything else if there's just one or two of you eating. Plant one today, one a week from now, one a week later, and on and on. Do it with peas, do it with carrots, do it with everything. We tend to take our seed packet, which may have all of 50 seeds, and put them all in the ground. And then we have 50 or maybe 30 if we're lucky, of the same thing, and they all come ready to harvest within a week or two of each other, and we give them away, which is nice.
Right.
But if you want them to eat, plant just a couple, and then a week later plant a couple more, or maybe 2 weeks later. You can get. I used to be a perfectionist. I used to be really focused on a lot of different things. I've gotten to the point where I'll put them in the ground. If they don't grow, I don't even care what they were. So I'll put a lot of seeds. Seeds are cheap. Put a lot of seeds in the ground. Water whatever the area was. If it comes up, it does. If it doesn't, you don't need it anyway. So succession planting is doing that every couple times a month, maybe, and start early and finish late. You might get you will get the best tasting carrots if you plant in October, and you'll harvest through the winter. and it's the most amazing thing because they get that cold and the sugar comes out and they're like candy.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Is that for most rooted vegetables, or specifically, what about like turnips and beets and things like
Their taste changes because of the cold, and
Gotcha.
and all of those in that
And
family.
fewer bug pressure.
And way less.
Yay,
bug
we
pressure.
like fewer bugs.
Yes. So to the herbs part, one of the interests that we had was like with me, I had high blood pressure for many years,
Oh, wow.
and so salt in different quantities. Fermenting salt is not too much, but just salt on everything. We do that because we don't have taste. A lot of smokers, I smoked. A lot of, you put salt in there so you can taste your food.
Right.
Well, herbs help you taste your food.
I love that.
And putting 2 and 3 times what a dash would, if you put a dash of herbs on it when you don't know herbs very well.
Right.
You put as many herbs as you can stand and then taste them, and they will complement the food in a variety of ways. It's literally like pairing wine with a certain food. You can pair herbs with a certain food, and an herb with an herb with an herb on this food is the most amazing thing. And then 1 small dash of salt just brings all the flavor out.
Oh my goodness.
And the beautiful thing is now you're getting taste in your food. COVID obviously took people's taste buds, but it also took a lot of people's vision for how the system of food is set up anyway. So we started second guessing what was going on in the grocery stores, and what was getting to the grocery stores and where it was coming from. And a lot of people planted gardens all over the house. And some of them still do that, but others realized, oh, that's why farmers wish they made more money, because this is really hard.
Right.
The bottom line is you can take herbs on store-bought food. You can take herbs and put it on grocery store-bought food. You can take herbs and, God forbid, a TV dinner. You know, but it makes
do that.
It makes everything taste better. Everything,
Sure.
except maybe ice cream. But chocolate makes ice cream taste.
Mint makes.
Mint.
Oh,
yes.
mint.
Very true. Yes.
Oh, I hadn't thought about putting
Yes.
real mint
Real
into
mint.
the ice cream.
Yes, and raw honey, and
Yes.
and we've got like 8 different kinds of mint. So you can have
love that.
pineapple mint one day and apple mint the next. You can get all kinds of ice cream.
I love that.
And as long as you put herbs on it, there's no calories.
I love that. I love that. So I'm very pro ice cream.
We don't lie.
Moderation.
Right.
With moderation.
Right.
So I love the fact that you guys have done so much in such a short period of time. It's obviously the hand of the Lord that has guided you through all this. This is a major maintenance.
It is.
So for someone that was wanting, saying, well, okay, I don't have all that acreage and so forth.
Yep.
And someone like me, I'm doing a lot of things on a small amount of land.
Yep.
So what would you say to that person that's thinking about starting a home garden?
Start small.
Start small.
I don't know how big that is.
Right.
If 2 by 5, if 2 feet by 5 feet overwhelms you, 2 by 2 it is.
Okay.
If 10 by 10 overwhelms you, and what I mean by overwhelms it, watch a few YouTube videos.
Yes.
But don't think that they're not doing like Instagram does and making things pretty, super, and all this good stuff. God's nature.
Yes.
A lot of herbalists credit Mother Nature, and they think that's God. No, God owns that copyright.
Right.
So God's nature abhors a vacuum. It hates a vacuum. If you I've got a scar there from running a bush hog on dirt.
Okay.
Something will grow there. It might be a tree seed. It might be a weed seed, because we have planted no grass out here. It might,
it's amazing.
A tomato could grow there.
Sure.
Anything could grow in that bare spot, and that's going to happen. So if you have ground that you have seed planted in, plan on other seed competing with you. So know where you plant. That's why that's why a lot of people plant in rows, or at least in pre-designed areas.
Sure.
So they know, oh, I must have intended to plant there because something's growing there and it's this marked area. Over here where I didn't, no, pull it out. No challenge. Start small. Don't be afraid to fail. Let yourself have 10 or whatever your number is, miserable years before you quit. Because pretty soon you'll get better at it.
Right.
We started with about 1/3 of an acre planted out here. We had help. Our son from Chattanooga is in the food and beverage industry, and when they shut them down, they needed something to do. So they brought a whole crew up here every Monday, and they'd help out on the farm. So we did a lot of experimenting. But for our own growing, we have a garden out back of our house. It's not even going to be 10 by 25 by the time it's over with. It's totally manageable. And yeah, you don't be afraid to fail, because seed's cheap and it's all about learning. So
yes, absolutely. And I would echo all of that. So Charmin, for those that are watching and they're kind of like me in the beginning, going like, okay, so is there benefits? Like we know that so many herbs help with our emotional well-being and the smell of them and so forth. I have found that gardening has helped me psychologically. I think it's good therapy. I mean, I can save a lot of money on counseling.
Very
And,
true.
and y'all know I'm all pro counseling, okay?
True.
This is not a replacement.
Yes.
This is a supplement. But what are your thoughts on just our own well-being, getting into the dirt and, the soil and the minerals and all that? Talk about that a little bit.
Okay, first, an old hymn comes to mind that has the line, I walk through the garden alone. Gardening.
Yes.
I mean, God started life
In a garden.
God gave Adam and Eve the job of tending the garden.
Yes.
There is true healing there, and there is science behind just taking your shoes off and walking barefoot on the ground. Now, I don't recommend that here because we still got a lot of thorns and thistles and blackberries.
Yeah.
But
Thanks, Adam and Eve.
Right, exactly.
But
there are areas where we can walk barefoot, and we do. Yeah.
yes,
Good.
yes. And it is very grounding. It's
Right.
very healing. The smell of fresh dirt. Our bodies crave nutrients that are so depleted from the big farm,
Yes.
big ag, farm industry, because they just till that dirt to death and they take out so many nutrients over the years. You know of mothers who eat dirt while pregnant, or women who eat dirt. Well, their body, developing a baby, is craving nutrients that are in the soil.
Yes.
If we plant in those healthy soils, our plants will absorb those nutrients and will get them from the plants. And you won't have to be a dirt eater.
Yeah, nobody wants to eat dirt unless it's real chocolate that looks like dirt
That's
on
right.
your ice cream.
That's right.
So,
There you go. There you go.
Well, this has been such a wonderful time. I absolutely love this couple. I totally endorse this farm and what they're doing. You can go to their Facebook page, and I encourage you to, right after this video, follow them, watch what they're doing. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, make sure that you sign up for this class. I'm sure there's going to be limited space. And don't be thinking, oh, rosemary thyme, I know all that. No, you don't. You don't know all of the ins and outs of it. We only know the limited amount that we've learned from it sitting on a shelf in a grocery store, which we know that that's really not the best, safest place these days to get our food. And we're not knocking it if you don't garden, but we're encouraging you to step out of your comfort zone. Try to do something with whatever you've got to do, because you want to be able to not only be able to do this for yourself, but pass it on to future generations. So we're super excited about that and what you're doing here. So look forward to more information. You can always check with me if you can't find them. I will send you the link directly. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the link below. If you're watching this on Creative Motion Network, thank you very much. Shout out to Kristen and Kevin for this amazing platform. But you can always email me, Facebook, or whatever, and I'll send you the direct link. Like the page. This is ways that we get to support local people. Buying products from them, liking their page, commenting on their stuff, and learning and growing together. So any final words from y'all?
I'd say, yeah, check out our Facebook site. I've been technologically better than I am now. I've been lazy, but check out our Facebook site, or I've got an Instagram site, CS3 Farms. And the big thing is, I don't know everything there is to know about this, but I know who does. And I know people in between me and him in knowledge, and I'm gutsy enough to tell you if I don't know something and give you a suggestion on who to contact. So ask me questions, but don't expect me to have all the answers.
Sure.
But that's how I learned, was asking people who knew a little more than I do. It's like learning anything else.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, we're growing together. If I don't know the answer, we'll find a resource that does.
Right.
But all good things come from the Father above.
Yep.
So any final words from you?
Go out there and try.
Yep.
That is the best thing you can do, is keep trying, because it's your health, and you have to take your health seriously.
Indeed.
Yeah, you got to own it.
You know, I'll tell you, my husband we had a garden, and he was planting, and I was reaping the benefits of that. He was doing all the labor. But after COVID hit, when we were in the grocery store, we were in Indianapolis, Indiana, and we went into a Whole Foods store, and the shelves were just, it was amazing. I was like, what is going on? There was not food. Listen, we're not trying to put any fear things out there, but you need to have some things to sustain you. So even if you have a small garden, it's all good. And I encourage you to reach out to your friends that also garden. Do it together as a challenge. And like they said, if you make a mistake, it's okay. You get to try it again. I mean, I am far from knowing, I mean, I've only been doing this a short period of time, but I have fallen in love with it. I believe that it is a sent from God for us to be able to sustain ourselves on the earth. And it's people like Charmin and Carter that are out there doing it on a larger scale. And so check that out. Follow them on their Facebook page and Instagram. It is CS3 on Instagram.
Farms.
Farms.
CS3 Farms with an S.
Okay, Farms, plural, with an S on Instagram. And again, if you can't find them, just reach out to me. God bless you guys. We'll see you here next time on Keys. See you later. Bye.